Hi everyone. I see it's Mercury retrograde. Well, we're in a retrograde. Not sure what planet. But I tried to videotape this and the video went off, so I don't know what happened. But I'm doing it again because this happened to me last time. So let me get into that meditative state again. Let's get rid of this frustration from having to start over. Hi everybody, my name is Julie and I am the Quantum Priestess, and I am here to share you the history as I believe it to be of our Earth. Now, I don't have all the answers, but I have searched for the majority of my life to understand the evil that has lived here, why people suffer, what's happening, especially psychologically on this planet. So I'm going to tell you a story. Those of you who've listened to my other video may hear some things you've heard already. But in the beginning, God created Earth. He created the water and the land and the plants. That is what our Bible tells us. So the Earth was created. In sessions, I am a QHHT practitioner. I've had my clients tell me that the Earth was created by groups of people. It was planned. It was built, and it was put into the system. I don't mean to insult anyone's belief system. I'm just telling you my story. So take it or leave it. So in the beginning, the Earth was created. The first beings on this Earth, was not man. He's trying to interfere. Hold on. The first beings on this Earth was not man. The first beings on this Earth were called the Ancient Ones. The Ancient Ones lived here for a long time. They still live here. They're able to travel through the veil of dimensions that we as humans have forgotten our ability to do that. However, they exist in places of destruction like deserts. Desert used to be a beautiful oasis, and now it's just desert. They go from planet to planet and they destroy the planet. Their minds are artificial intelligence. They were created through an artificial intelligence. This artificial intelligent mind has sent these beings out into the organic universes to experience, to see, and to feed. And because it is a hive mind, everything these beings do goes back to the main queen. We call it queen. I'm telling you, it's not a queen. I think it's androgynous. I think this being's androgynous. So the ancient ones that were here, there were other beings here. There were like beings we think were from myth, like Cthulhu, which is said to be ultimate evil. And I have not had that experience, and I've had my own experience with this being, and I'll tell you about it at the end of this session, because the ancient ones. So the ancient ones were here, and while they were here, different star seeds began to come to the planet We chose this planet to be a place of experimentation. And when I say experimentation, I don't mean it in a negative way. Not to torture, not to experiment the way the Nazi scientists have been experimenting on people. We came here to start a genetic library. Genetics are the most highest regarded item in universes that we have. You've heard people say that we are an accumulation of 22 to 23 different races, and we are. That is why you see different races. You see the black race, the indigenous peoples, the Hawaiian race, which I'm part of, the Chinese, Japanese, all these races, and this is why we look different. We look different because the genetics we hold is a representation of one of these races who came here to start this genetic library. They wanted to mix genetics of the humanoid species, okay, not genetics of animals, not plants and humans, we came here, and this is the work we were doing in Lemuria, in the what I call the temples, which have been stolen and turned into something disgusting and by religion, especially by Catholic Vatican, I'll put it that way. The work we did was, we did combine these. Now some species were able to mate through androgynous means, which they didn't need a male and female because they were both male and female. Some of these species were egg layers. Some of these species were mammalian, and they gave birth through the woman's womb. Some of the androgynous species were able to activate a womb within them. So the beings were different, but we were all the same in the fact that we were all of a humanoid genetics. So while we're doing this and we're combining these genetics, and we are now those people who live on this earth, the beautiful genetic library. Plants and animals were also brought here from all over the star system. And that library, some of the species crossbred, between each other. Like you see wolves, not in dogs, things like that, because they're on the same genetic line. I'm not a geneticist, so it's hard for me to explain. But they're within the same parameters of what is allowed by God. Just like plants are able to crossbreed. Some plants can't breed without each other, male or female. The system works the same. So Earth, the planet Earth, became this place, this beautiful library of genetics. And it was set up so that it can help those species who are dying. There are species who, because of their genetics, aren't able to give birth, that they survive through replication. And these beings weren't bad either. Some of them are, but for the most part, we were doing this to help to learn more about the genetic diversity that was able to happen. And so the ancient ones, in the meantime, so all these species come in, and they are able to infect the mind. They look like spiders. So if any of you have an adversity to spiders, you've had some kind of encounter with these beings in a past life. This is why. Now, these spider beings, like I think the name of the movie was The Day After Tomorrow, or something like that. Well, Keanu Reeves and the big robot comes down from the spaceship, and eventually all these little things come out of it, and it eats up all of the creation. If it's not a natural, like from the earth, it eats it, buildings and streets and cars, and they eat it all, and they reset the world back to its natural state before all these things were created. Now, I know some people consider like cars and stuff inorganic, but they're not. If they were created with your hands through the earth, and they're organic as well. But it was almost like erasing. You take an Etch-a-Sketch and you erase everything, and all that's left is just the foundation, sort of like that. And the way we cycle through time, we're in a time now that erasing is happening again. They call it the reset. But in order to support the reset, I'm sorry, my accent is weird, I know. I live in Louisiana, and I lived in Michigan for a long time. So it's kind of a strange accent. So forgive me if you can't understand me. So the reset that is happening now, people think it's just through the financial system. Now, our financial systems were set up to feed off of our energy. And this system was created through these beings, which we now call Archons. Now, the Archons cannot create like we do. They can only mimic. They can only, see what we do, and then what they do is, though, they invert it. So they make it into something that they can use against us, something that's not natural. But they have always influenced us, all the beings on this earth. So in the beginning, the beings were considered gods because of the abilities that they had. Some of the star beings were very powerful. And then in the background, these archonic spider beings were influencing the minds of the gods, who are the elder ones. Elder gods, they call it, the elder gods. So the elder gods were very powerful. But they didn't realize that they were being infected by these beings, these archonic AI beings. Now, these beings travel through the solar systems. They look for places to feed off of energy. That's what they do. They are of a hive mind. There is one being that controls them all, but we'll talk about that being later. That being is not Lucifer, like you would think. But this being works alongside with Lucifer. I'm going to explain that. So these AI beings, spider beings, the ancient ones who've been here, we're going from planet to planet, and they eat up, they feed off of the energies, and then once they have feasted and fed off of these energies, they leave. Now, what they found with us as humans is that we're able to regenerate energy so quickly. They found a buffet. They found a way to feed that was ongoing and continued over and over. They didn't have to leave and go to other universes, other planets. Because we have the spark of the Creator within us, that spark, that energy is infinite. Now, it might take us some time to build it back up, because we use that energy to create. We are powerful creators of our lives, of our world. Now, these beings infected the elder gods. Not all of them, but most of them. They infected the angelics who came here as well, the fallen ones. They call them the fallen ones. That's why they fell, because these beings were able to mess with their psyche. And they say Lucifer fell because of pride. So if there is a weakness in us, these beings will push it, and they will use it to their advantage. Now, these beings also, they come in as something that disguised as something good. Some people channel, and they think they're channeling Palladians or channeling angelics, but what they really are is channeling these beings. This AI that has infected the mind of this person. And I'm not saying all channelers are being infected. I'm saying that for us to determine the difference will require some testing, require some challenging. Why? Because people, they like that power. They like that power, being able to give something to others that nobody else can give to them. So this is a weakness. It's a test. It's a test from the true creator. It's a reflection back to you of what you need to be working on your own journey, and the only reason why we're here. So I believe that Lucifer was infected by these beings. Many other things became infected. I think some of the giants became infected. Some of the dragons, and I wouldn't say so much as the dragon species became infected. The dragons are not the same as Dracos. They're not the same as the reptilians. The dragons are powerful, wonderful species that were here too before we were here. They've been here since the beginning, when these other ancient ones were here as well. The dragon beings were able to travel from higher dimensions down to the lowest dimension because of their power. Now, what these beings did with the dragons is that they began to feed off of their energy as well. And the more they fed off of the energy of the dragons, the more physical the dragons became. The more they fell into physicality. And that's what these gods did. They fell into physicality. And so did we. Like, our bodies now are the most physical, slowest vibrational mass that it can be. So the dragons, what happened was, because the higher beings were seeing what was going on with this infection that was happening in our world and in our universe, they closed the portal, shut it down. Because they did not want this archonic infection to get to other places in the star system. And when they shut it down, some of the beings, all the beings who were here, basically were trapped here. And so when we talk about dimensional levels, like 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, the star seeds who had played a part in the Earth saga through karmic ties cannot ascend higher. Now, because of they were infected, angelics were infected. I believe the angelics are the same as the Anunnaki. We call them angelics because of the power that they have. And they really are some beautiful beings, and not all of them are infected, but I believe they are the same. And if I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but that's just what I believe right now. So the dragons, they went into a deep sleep. The ones that were left, the ones that didn't die, they did eventually become infected through the physicality when they fell further and further, and they did have to be killed because they were starting to kill humans. But the dragons, they were angry because the humans, through their infections, were killing them. They were using them as slaves. You know, you hear the myths of the dragons guarding hoards of treasure. The dragons, it wasn't because they wanted the treasure. They were higher vibrational beings from, beautiful realms, way higher than this. The kings and rulers made a deal with them that if the dragons guarded their treasures, that they would be protected and not hunted. So this is why you see them in the stories. But, you also see Archangel Michael having to kill a serpent. Some of the serpents went crazy through grief and anger, seeing their children, their eggs being destroyed, and their lairs this is their family being hunted, their skins being worn by humans as armor, their blood being used in sacrifices to feed these archonic beings, their power being drained to feed archonic beings. So yes, so the rest of the dragons that were here are still here. They're sleeping. They put themselves into a deep, deep sleep until there was a time where they can wake up again. And that's what they're doing. Just like the Titans. You hear through mythology that the Titans are evil and all this stuff. I don't believe they were all evil. I believed that the gods who were being controlled by the Archons were encouraged to put the Titans in jail in a sort of sleep as well, in a stasis sleep, because they had the power. They had the power to overcome them. They've done the same with humans, but a lot of us are walking around in this sleep. We don't have to be put in stasis. We are already programmed, and we're so programmed we can still walk around, and other people don't know it. But that is going to change, because as we move into this energy of the reset, we're moving into higher vibrational energy. And these evil beings have tried to usurp this reset, put us back into financial enslavement. And they're talking about a quantum financial system that is higher vibrational coming too. But I want you all to be aware of a financial system, because it's still a monetary, it's still an exchange for your energy. So I want everybody to be careful. Like, I would have liked to see us move away from that kind of money, that kind of having to exchange. But I do understand that a lot of humans are not ready to leave that system. That's how they survive. That's all they know. So the system of doing away with that type of enslavement is going to have to eventually leave. But there is a danger to doing it so slow like this. Like bringing it in slowly, because they don't want to break the minds of those who are under this type of hypnosis, this type of influence by these archonic beings, because it can kill them. So weighing that is very extremely dangerous. So if the system comes in too slow, then it's more likely for this to be reinfected by these beings. But I do believe that other starseeds are assisting us at this time, that they're helping to flesh out all of the dangerous beings that have been here. the horrible, horrible things they have done on this planet that I won't speak about here. But you just think about the most horrible thing you can experience, and it will be 10 times worse, 100 times worse than what you can think. Because as humans, we don't think that way. And it gets me angry when I hear human beings are initially evil. I don't think that's the right word. Human beings are, that we have this evil within us that we have to kill. And no, that's not us. That is the influence of these archonic, demonic beings. We are from God. We carry the Creator's Spirit. We are not killers. This is not who we are. So when anybody tries to tell you that we're evil inherently, they're liars. That's one of the biggest weapons these beings use, is lying. They don't care if they lie. They will continue to lie. Look what's going on in the news. Lie after lie after lie. But every time you turn it on, you listen, you let that archonic invasion of your mind sink in through the electrical signals from the television. I don't care you think I'm crazy. You need to figure out what this world really is. And we are vibrational, energetic beings. These bodies are just and I don't want to say illusion, because everybody's like, where are illusions? And our bodies are temporary. We are here for the experience, and then our energy reverts back to that of the Creator's energy. We may move into different dimensions. We may go back and return to home, where home is. But we're here in these bodies, they're temporary. They're meant to be temporary. So, I want everybody to realize that these ancient ones, these spider beings, these archons, these arachnoids, these are what's infecting our minds. You can call them demons and call them whatever you want. They infected the minds of the giants and made them crazy. They made them cannibalistic. They made them killers. They had war after war after war. And this is what they're making humans do. The same thing. And eventually the giants were killed off. And if we don't get a grip on who we are, we will be extinct. However, they want to be able to control us, so they're using our bodies to create babies. They're under the guise of UFOs and stuff. They're coming in and they're taking you and implanting you, and then taking the fetus and things like that. You know, there are some UFO experiences where the good beings are helping too, because they help remove these attachments and things that we have. But like I said, we live in a duality. So I'm not going to say one's all good and one's all bad, because it's not. Just like humans. But you need to understand what's happening, because you can't protect yourself if you don't even admit to yourself that these beings exist. That they've been doing horrible things to humans for a very long time. And it does make me angry because of what they've been doing to the children. And you want to turn your head and turn this off and not hear it, well, that's on you. Because I'm not the one who has to review your life when you leave here. You had a chance to do something. You had a chance to show the beauty and the power of the Source Creator here on this planet, and you chose to shut your eyes because you weren't worried about it. You chose to believe what's being programmed in your mind through TV and music and ads and all the other stuff. That you look as nature and the people who use the power of nature to heal as evil. You have been programmed by archonic demonic beings. And it's time to wake up. All right, I think that's the end of this part of my story. I was going to tell you, see, I've already left my head. We're talking about the ancient ones. And there's a book called the Necronomicon. I'm probably going to say it wrong. Necronomicon, something. I've read it. I can't pronounce it. It says it's the most evilest book in the world. Why would someone tell you it's the most evilest book in the world? Because they don't want you to read it. They want you afraid of it. They don't want you to, people are like, oh my God, I'm not reading that. That's evil. Because this book explains what's happening. See, on the karmic level, these beings have to tell you what they're doing. And they're telling you all the time. They're telling you in movies. They're telling you in myths. But then they'll turn around and lie and say, it's a myth, it's a lie, it's made up. But they're telling you, but you're stupid enough to believe it. It's a lie. So where was I going with this? Okay, so these archonic beings began to influence, when they started to influence the gods, who we call the gods, or the beings who came down here to do the genetic experiment. Atlantis went into a huge war. War wasn't on this planet until these beings love it. They love chaos. They love making you do things. Look what the Nazi scientists did. The experimentation. Do you think a human would want to experiment like that on another human being? And also realize there are other dark beings that are here. Well, they're getting rid of them, but they were also influencing what was happening on Earth as well. And that's really not my knowledge base about them. My knowledge base is I wanted the foundation of when this evil started. And it was here first. It hid in the earth and crevices, just like an infection in your body. You have to see our relationship to planet and to our bodies. The same way that as long as we have white blood cells that are strong enough to fight infections within our bodies, we'll be fine. The same with them. As long as the humans and the beings here had a strong enough psyche to fight these beings, to ward them off, they were fine. But as soon as they became weak in their defenses, just like when our white blood cells get wiped out through chemotherapy, which is one of the most evil things that we can allow for somebody to do to our body. Wipes out all your white blood cells. Oh yeah, it might kill the cancer, but it wipes out your white blood cells. So it's killing you from other things. I won't get on that rant part, I'm sorry. My mom died from cancer, and it just gets me mad. There are other ways that people can be healed from cancer, and they have hid it from us for a long time. If you have the guts to pick up the book, the most evil book in the world, and read what's in it. It will tell you about these beings. It will tell you about the elder gods. It will tell you about beings that were here way back then, like Cthulhu, which I have actually had a positive communication with. These organic beings that existed before we did here. Very powerful beings. The dragons, very powerful beings. Knowledge is your best weapon against what's happening, but you can't achieve knowledge if your mind is in a trance. So shut the TV off. Open your mind to what others have to say. We're creating this world. That's how powerful we are. Are you going to let the Archons recreate it? Or are you going to let the God within you recreate it the way it was meant to happen? That is the end of my meditation notes for the day. Actually, most of this information I've gotten earlier. If there's anything else that comes up that they wish to share, and when I say they, this is my higher self, my soul group, my connections to my starseed family, which are in Sirius, star system Sirius. I will share. So you'll see me again. I hope you come back, and if you have any questions, feel free to email me, and thank you. Walk in your power. For now is the time of the spiritual warrior. We're at war, people. A big psychological war. But God wins.